Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 90 of Radio Gorepress. We're 90, guys. 90.
We do this every time.
Close to 100.
We do this every time.
We don't do it every time.
This is how numbers work.
Every time it's a different number, and it gets more and more exciting up until we get to 100, and then that's it. We've peaked.
Do we stop then?
It was 69, and then 100.
No, we've got to get to 420, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That's going to take forever.
And then if we're going to get as far as 420,
yes,
we have to continue to 666, obviously.
Right. And that's the end because,
true.
horror number.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've just planned out our entire future.
So we've only got 556 more episodes to go.
Stay tuned, guys. So the eagle-eared amongst you, that's not a phrase, but I'm going to make it a phrase. Eagle-eared.
Eagles don't have ears.
Then how do they hear things?
I'm sure they do.
Can you imagine an eagle with ears?
I mean, maybe not like actual human ears, but they can hear.
No, that's what you said. That is what you said. An eagle with human ears.
But anyway, may have heard another laugh that you may be unfamiliar with during that opening segment. That's because we have a special guest this week. We are joined by Tom from Upside Down Shark. Say hi to the people, Tom.
Hello, people. I am a human with 2 human ears, and I just want to make a recommendation straight out the gate because I'm that cheeky. I'm afraid you're going to have to keep going a little bit past 666 because eventually you're going to have to do 1408 on 1408. So that's an extra 1,300 and something. So sorry, you're in it for the long haul. But no, I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You can go off, people,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll be quiet now.
Do you want to give a bit of time
very glad to have you.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Do you want to give a bit of time to run down what Upside Down Shark is all about, Tom?
Sure. So Upside Down Shark is a website, podcast, YouTube channel, and a lot of other things just littering around various parts of the internet that just deals with all kinds of alternative pop culture. We look at movies, music, video games. We do reviews. We do interviews. We got 2 podcasts. We got our entertainment news podcast, UDS Radio, and our Simpsons podcast called Simpsons Showdown. So if you like pop culture and The Simpsons, check them out. But yeah, as we were saying off camera, I owe quite a lot to Phil from the old creative point of view. Phil is the guy that helped us set up our very first podcast feed. He gave me all of the insider tricks and of the trade and everything, and Phil also designed our banner image. So, if anything, UDS and Upside Down Shark, whatever you want to call us, is just but a little splinter that lives in reverence of all things Gorepress. So this is a big moment for us.
There we go. We're influencers, guys.
That's like the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us.
I speak no lie.
That's lovely.
Yeah. We appreciate you being here. Before we get into it, feel free to find us on social media. We're on all the popular ones. And if you like what we do, leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. And we also have a Patreon if you fancy supporting us. Just find us on patreon.com. So, since we are joined by Tom of Upside Down Shark Radio, we decided that it was Shark Week here at Radio Gorepress. We've chosen...
That's not Shark Week if you want it bad enough.
What was that?
I said every week is Shark Week if you want it badly enough.
And I said that I don't think that's what Shark Week means.
I have no idea. To be honest, I have no idea what Shark Week is.
Absolutely
But it
not.
seemed like a thing, so, But in honour of...
Just double down. Go with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm gonna let you look that up on Urban Dictionary after we finish recording.
I mean, I think I know what it means, but it's funny, right? It's a funny thing.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Shark Week. Yeah, fuck
Shark
it.
Week.
Why not?
So we've chosen this week to cover Jaws.
Shark Tale.
Shark Tale.
Oh, what a film.
Did I watch the wrong
Did you watch a Shark Tale?
I mean, she watched the Shark Tale. It might not be the Shark Tale, but...
Philip.
Sorry. I think we don't need a synopsis, do we? We all know what Jaws is about. It's about a big...
I think it would be... Yeah, it would be pretty redundant at this point. I think this is probably the most iconic film we've covered to date. So if you haven't seen it by now, what are you doing with your life?
Hey, guess what?
Yeah. Is this a first watch
This
for
is
you?
a first watch for me.
Don't dare.
Hey, Philip.
I have never watched Jaws up until the other week.
How dare you call yourself a shark
know.
aficionado?
I can't say I've ever called myself that, but
I am genuinely
good.
speechless.
I know. There's like every so often I'll find like a big gap in my horror kind of knowledge, and I just never get around to filling it. Like,
I mean, the
Psycho
fact
was a first
that
watch.
I'm shocked about that.
Doesn't it?
Me, who has never seen any film ever.
So am I
Phil, you're
Wow.
sacked.
to assume that you all have seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Because we're all humans with our normal walking legs and lives.
I've seen it twice in the last 2 weeks, for fuck's sake. You are truly slacking.
I know.
I like those odds. I like those ratios.
But hey, like, you know, you're going to hear a first impression.
Yeah, definitely. Very
This is
exciting.
true.
So,
You offer a unique perspective.
yeah.
I think I'm surprised more from the point of view that it's a Spielberg film that you haven't seen, rather than
Yeah.
it's a like iconic
Seminal.
film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more surprised about it being Spielberg and you haven't seen
yeah.
it.
I mean, this is like, it's an interesting point because it's obviously it's a horror film. It's well known as being a horror film, but superficially, at least, you wouldn't, with like, you know, John Williams doing the music, with Spielberg doing the, it's got a lot more kind of broader credence to it than other films. It's got a much more wider
Yeah.
appeal.
And primarily filmed in daylight as well.
Yeah.
With some questionable filters.
Isn't it also a PG rating in the UK as well? Which
Really?
Is it
I
really?
think it might be, which is very shocking when you look at the amount of gore and child deaths in this film.
Yeah, there is some quite graphic kind of imagery.
But I think that's kind of the thing. You go back into this era of films, and it seems to be there's this weird clash where some films which were like X-rated, like, you know, the most sort of adult films would be, you know, a 12 or 15 by today's ratings. And then you get some films like National Lampoon and this that basically have full frontal female nudity and are a PG and are shown at daytime TV. So it's just strange what you could get away with back then, because apparently you could just like have a leg floating with loads of viscera and gore on it. And that's fine. That's fine. Kids can watch that.
And kids
So,
dying, men
normally
getting
I would
eaten
say
alive.
normally I would say maybe the caliber of it being Spielberg meant he could get away with more, but he was kind of a nobody back then, wasn't he?
75, wasn't it? So this is before Indiana
this
Jones
is like
and
one of
Star
his
Wars and everything.
earliest.
I love that they still had the like Spielberg, John Williams little tinkly music bits, the incidental little like tinklies.
I found that more unsettling than anything, because you've got the really, really famous kind of you know, that stuff. And then you've got like the really whimsical stuff. And it's like, what, did I pass out and wake up and Goonies is on? I don't...
Right?
It was really
just like,
sort of
this
tonally
is
weird.
a coming-of-age childhood romp, isn't it?
You kind of get that with
giant scary shark.
you kind of get that with Poltergeist as well, because that was Spielberg produced, I want to say,
yeah.
but that's got
with
those
Toby
weird
Hooper.
Yeah, that's got those weird twinkly winkly bits, but it's also kind of unsettling. And yes, Jaws seems to have sort of started that trend in many regards.
Yeah.
I can't work out if I would have found it unsettling had I watched it in 1975, or if it's because that noise I have
How would you have watched it in 1975?
Oh, with a
Rosie?
fucking time machine, Sarah. We're talking hypothetically. I jump
You know
into
I'm
my
very
time
literal.
machine. I go back to 1975. I watched Jaws in the cinema. Would I have been freaked out
That's
by
all I was
that
asking
noise?
for.
Good. Would I have been freaked out by that noise because it's just unsettling? Or would I have been unsettled by it because I have such a positive association with that sound being in like heartwarming, like, you know, E.T., Goonies, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's really jarring to have it in a suspenseful horror film.
I like the idea of
Probably that, right?
I like the idea with all of the technology that time travel would need, and this revolutionary machinery. You would use it to go back to specifically 1975, purely to find out if the Pavlovian response of this positive music still works for Jaws.
You're damn fucking right of it.
I would too.
What
I would
else
too.
am I going to use it for? Blah blah.
I mean, it might not be first on your list.
Something. Kill Hitler. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, Jaws.
Go and see Jaws first, and then
If
right,
there's
though.
time.
There is like a
There's
very clear
always
kind
time.
of there is a very clear kind of John Williams sound, isn't there?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Like any kind of a lot of music you can hear and be able to identify as John Williams. I think he's got very kind of particular inspiration for
I
classical
don't
music and
actually
stuff.
think John Williams is a person. I think he is a computer that created a CD and they just replay it for all of the films that he does the soundtrack for.
How very dare you.
Oh, I dare. I said it. I went there. So, Robot John Williams, to give him his full title.
So
Yeah.
I do think it's funny how, because he worked with Spielberg so much, whenever I hear that music, I associate it with Spielberg before I think of John Williams.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because the two are so synonymous.
it's like Danny Elfman and
completely
Tim Burton
agree.
as well. Like you,
You say that. I associate Danny Elfman with Nightbreed above anything else.
of course.
I associate Danny Elfman with The Simpsons. So
There we go.
And, if you're an Oingo Boingo fan, who knows?
I do like weird science. Anyway,
This, I feel, is a kind of quite a prescient film to be talking about at this particular time. Not because of sharks, because as far as I'm aware, there isn't a massive great white shark attacking people off the coast
Yet.
of New York yet.
not
That's
with
the
that
one thing we
attitude,
haven't
there's
had
not.
this year.
God, don't jinx it. But
I mean, there's life on Venus. 2020 can't get more fucking weird.
space sharks.
Yeah, there are sharks on Venus. Let's go with that.
Jaws 4. Oh no, there is a Jaws 4, isn't there? Jaws 5.
I think we worked out that it was the 10th film that's always in space.
Okay.
So Jaws 10.
Is it the 10th?
Jaws in space.
we don't need the other
Jason
ones.
X.
Funnily enough, one of my notes reads Jaws in space. And that's because that was how Alien was pitched.
Oh,
When
Jaws
Alien
in
was
space.
pitched, this film they pitched it as
interesting.
Jaws in space. So
There are no sharks in Alien.
you weren't watching closely enough.
Wait, what? No, I'm not. No, you're
No,
taking
there were
the
no
piss out of
sharks
me.
in Alien.
You're fucking with me now.
Yes.
It's been a very odd few days.
but yeah, with the attitude of a certain government in the world right now and their response to a very significant danger, it seems I see Tom excited to say something right now.
No, you carry on. But I picked up on exactly this as well, so...
It's almost become it was kind of acknowledged
Is
by
it
a lot
because
of
of the
different people.
memes?
Yeah. Just
There are lots
how,
of memes about Larry being Boris Johnson, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about how when Larry's giving his speech to the news and it's like, the beaches are open, everybody's out,
Yeah.
it's totally safe, and everyone's like out in the water doing their thing, and then it's like, oh shit, actually,
Then people
no,
die.
you're lying because you want people to spend money. That's why you're
Yeah.
letting people in the water. And yeah, the parallels are definitely there. Definitely.
it did seem very significant. So yeah, that's tragic.
Timely, and also you're bumming me out. Move on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. This film stars my top 5, possibly all time, favorite Hollywood crush.
Really?
Which one?
Richard Dreyfuss, specifically in this
Really?
film as well.
Yes.
Something about Matt Hooper. Oh my god! Like
I've got that in my notes as well.
Really smart, tiny glasses, beard. Wears double denim.
Actually.
Like absolutely 100% my type.
Now you've said it, I can totally
It's
see
the little
that.
Canadian tuxedo.
It's the little hipster
And the
beanie.
beanie hat.
The hipster beanie. Yeah.
That's like rolled up
The
above his ears. Yeah. Like, all about it. And I found myself throughout this film just like smiling so much every time his character came on screen.
Oh, that's adorable.
I was just like, oh, it's Richard Dreyfuss. And he's aged really well. Have you looked him up recently?
I haven't seen him in anything for years.
He's
have to look him
got
up.
like perfect white hair and a white beard, and he just I love him. Oh, I love him. Yeah, that I'd forgotten how much I love Dreyfuss in this film. And he just looks like he had the most fun ever making this film.
Mm-hmm.
He's so happy all the time.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, like the bits where it's him and Quint comparing shark attack scars and things like that. It's just it almost reminded me a little bit of The Lighthouse, where they're just sort of like chumming out and then the next minute they're down each other's throats. But oh man, he's so cool.
It reminded me a bit of the Mighty Boosh. Where they're just like, yeah, see this? Straighteners, Nicky Clark got as she can get. Fell asleep on him when I was pissed. They're showing the most ridiculous. They're just getting their legs out and they're like, let's drink to our legs. I love that there is a pirate sailor, like New York pirate sailor. Is that what Quint is? I don't.
Well,
Amity's near New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think they filmed it all in Massachusetts, but it's set in New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a reference to the accent in the at the start of the movie, I believe.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because they moved from New York to an island, but it's near like Cape Cod and stuff like that. So yeah, my geography's not great, but I think it's pretty near. But he's just like a weird pirate. He only talks in riddles or song. Tells everyone that I don't know, there's some yellow-bellied landlubber. Just shouts a lot, talks over everyone, drinks, and is a bastard.
And that's why he's my favourite.
And I love him.
He's brilliant.
I love him.
Robert Shaw in this film, I don't even think his dialogue is particularly good, but his delivery of it is just solid gold throughout.
His dialogue doesn't have to be particularly good because you can't make out half of what he's saying. What are you doing, Quint?
I'll do it for 400. I'll do it for 1,000. I love the bit where he necks the can of beer and then Richard smashes it in his hand, and then Richard Dreyfuss has just got the plastic cup and just like very machismo. Yeah, I'm angry too. Oh, it's so good.
My favourite Quint moment from the entire film is right at the beginning where he's talking about, yeah, you give me $10,000 and I'll capture this shark, and then like points to a little chalk drawing of a shark that he made on the board next to him. This one, I'm going to get this one.
I drew this before I came in.
And it's the cutest looking shark as well.
Do you like my drawing?
He's such a badass, but he's a very good illustrator.
That's one of the weird things I find about this movie, because up to then it's like a fairly, for want of a better word, normal film. Like, they're well realized characters and it seems to be quite sensible. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, becomes this kind of like grizzled fisherman, this like proper archetype fisherman who is trying to, kill the shark. It's just so bonkers.
And like his wife got taken away by an octopus, and he spent his life hunting down at the bottom of Davy Jones's locker.
Well, so apparently, in the original script,
his wife did get taken away by an octopus.
No. In the original script, he was going to be introduced in the cinema where they were showing Moby Dick, and he's basically spoiling the fun for all of the other kind of customers, because he's just laughing at how ridiculous the film is. But they couldn't get the rights to Moby Dick,
so they cinema. watching reruns of Moby Dick going, "So fucking wild."
Why is he Australian?
He is now.
Okay.
But it just goes to show how ridiculous his character is and how much of an archetype he is. Because they clearly know that because of the fact that they would introduce him, and they were planning on introducing him having in the middle of watching Moby Dick and laughing at it.
When you said they introduced him in the cinema, the instant thought in my head was that he just sat in the cinema while people were watching Jaws in some sort of 4D experience. See this film?
For a Q&A before the show started.
I'm in this film.
That is...
Yeah, he's the piratiest of all pirates.
He's great.
He is. I think it's interesting that we've talked about those two, but nobody's mentioned Brody yet.
Oh, it's because I hate him.
Right. Okay, I'm getting to that. But I think I wrote in my notes somewhere that he's sort of like whatever the male version of a Mary Sue is. He's almost just like a cipher for the audience because he's so bland.
Yeah.
Like, I know you said, like, briefly, Phil, that the characters are quite well realised. And I'm not saying you're wrong in his case. But like his defining characteristic is just that he's very moral, upstanding dude.
He's very moral. He wears glasses and he drinks pints of wine.
And he's a bit of a wet yogurt.
He is. He's a long tall drink of water.
Yeah.
There's nothing to him. And they're like, "Oh, chuck some fish out for the shark." And he's like, "Can't someone else do it? I don't like fish. Don't like being on the sea. Why did you come?" Literally, why did he go on the expedition? He didn't need to be there. He did nothing.
He didn't want to feel left out.
Apart from right at the end.
Yeah, he did shoot them.
Fine. How is it fair that Quint has to die and Brody from the Brody Bunch gets to just pew and like sort the problem out, like explode a shark? How is that fair?
Maybe that was his little mini redemption arc for being so boring throughout.
Not a shit character, not a terrible person, just really average. Just really boring.
Like aggressively
mediocre.
I love that we both went to that word. Just like so
violently boring, some would say.
Yes. What would you say was your favourite death in this film? Because obviously they're all shark attacks, but like, I know that my least favourite is the fact that the dog goes missing.
Of course.
That was the only thing that I gave a shit about. Children don't care.
But Pippin, where the fuck is Pippin gone?
Yeah, right?
Pippin! Oh my god! But yeah, out of all the deaths, so you've got the girl who is swimming in, I'm going to say sunset with inverted commas, because that was an interesting filter they put over their film. Then there is the kid in the water. There is Quint, obviously. There is the guy in the pond where Brody's kids are. Is there anyone else?
Well, it's hard to say because most of it sort of happens off screen, doesn't it? A lot of what you're seeing is just the aftermath of the violence.
That's a fair point.
Yes. I just can't think of there actually any. All right, okay.
With that in mind, my answer is Quint, obviously.
He's your favourite?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the first one is mine.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you.
Like I know that the Quint death scene is really iconic because
it's more
like
of a spectacle.
Big Shark, mum. Yeah. But the way that girl acted, being like dragged about in the water and just her blood curdling screams, like I thought that was really, really effective. Like that actually unsettled me a little bit. It's been so long since I watched Jaws.
And considering that's the first thing you see in this film, it's such a scene setter. And then you've got the bell on the lifebuoy thingy in afterwards, just sort of echoing after all the screams have just died. And it's just kind of like this idea that as soon as you're gone, that's it, you're just gone. And then, they do obviously find her, but in theory, you could just be lost in the sea forever after that. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
The sea is terrifying anyway.
It's really quite unnerving.
I got that just to switch conversations.
What's that? Thalassophobia? Is that the fear of the sea? Fear of open water?
I think
I've got that, but specifically for the Kraken, or at least the concept of the Kraken, because the sea is too big, and the Kraken could be under your feet at any point when you're in deep enough water. And that's just a terrifying
there is
concept.
so much of the sea that we haven't discovered, that we haven't explored.
We spoke about this, didn't we?
We said this last time, didn't we? So much.
I don't need new phobias. Quit it. I'm okay with the sea at present.
What about the Kraken?
Yeah, how do you feel about...
It's not great, is it? As a concept.
That's going to be 2020's finale.
The Kraken.
No.
Is that what you've got in
Can
the
you
sweet
imagine?
state?
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be the end of Cabin in the Woods. There's just going to be this
giant
big
hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
The
That's
elder
it.
gods rise once more.
That'd be sweet relief at this point.
But it's interesting you say about the kind of fear of the ocean, because getting a bit ahead of ourselves at the moment, but that scene where they're all drinking in the boat towards the end of the movie, and they hear the whale song, like that, more than a lot of other films, like, for example, is it Open Water, where they're stranded in the middle of the sea?
Some open water.
Open water.
No, I said, is it Open Water, the film? That was the film I thought it was. So, yes was the answer.
But you could have also said, was it Deep Blue Sea, where they're in the middle of the Deep Blue Sea? I guess
see.
they're in water.
I see what you were saying.
The answer was
I thought you were...
the answer was yes, but make it facetious.
The real answer is Deep Blue Something with their hit single Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I hate that song.
But yeah,
were saying, Phil.
more so than a lot of those other films, that scene truly kind of made me just acknowledge how empty the ocean seems, particularly at night. Like, it wasn't even like a long shot of the boat on the open sea, just them in the cabin, dark outside, the sound of whale song just really just made me feel uncomfortable.
You're going to think I'm being facetious, and I'm not actually
Really?
trying to be facetious. But no, I'm really not. But the only other film that I can think of that has whale song in it is Finding Nemo.
See, now I want
As
to
soon
edit
as they were
Dory.
like, what's that? It's whale song. All I could see in my head was fucking Dory being like, and it completely spoiled the moment for me. Like, I wasn't like, the majesty of nature out at sea. I was like, that doesn't sound much like a whale.
That's
From
fair.
what I know of a Pixar film.
Yeah. It's because your entire knowledge of whale song comes from Finding Nemo.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's
it does.
the benchmark.
Yeah.
The thing that ruined it for me was having seen the videos of that shark puppet. The hand shark puppet.
Bruce.
Cheese.
Oh no!
Oh, yes.
No,
I'd forgotten that existed. Why have you done this?
no.
You know, that's what I'm all about. Just spoiling stuff for you guys.
Yeah, okay.
Cheese.
Well,
I've
thanks.
totally forgotten that exists. I'm both really happy that you've reminded me and absolutely fucking livid that you've reminded me in the context of this film.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. No, you're not. No, you're not.
The photoshops are all sprung in my mind all at once. Just, oh my god.
Well, yeah, I can never watch this film in the same way again, ever.
Oh.
Thanks for ruining
Wow.
Jaws, Phil.
There's a whole bunch of stupidity in this film. I know that's like a really broad statement, but like at
In
the
terms
point,
of
mostly
Just character decisions, or
yeah, I think so. I'm more thinking about all of the ships that go out, all of the like little boats that go out to try and capture this shark, and they're all like chucking meat in the sea at each other, like behind them, whatever. And then people like lobbing depth charges behind them, like it's some kind of game of nautical Mario Kart. And I fail. There was a lot of decisions that were made in this film by Quint, by Hooper, by those fucking guys. I'm just like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why is Larry telling people to go into the water? Why are you doing that?
I put that down on my notes. It's like
swim out to help
I can
out.
understand. Like I can understand from a financial perspective, kind of closing down Amityville as a whole. But that beach was packed. There were loads of people there. They were clearly getting income and trying to get through the summer months. Why is it so integral that they go into the water? Like people are there. People are spending money. That should be it, right?
Can I just rewind a second? Did you say Amityville?
Amity, sorry.
That puts an entire new spin on this film.
Yep.
That's like,
Well, it's weird you should say that, actually, because I made a note. That was one of the first things that kind of clued me into the fact that it was Massachusetts, because there are loads of those houses that look like the Amityville house.
Okay.
With the same sort of setup,
Like
the
the
same
same
kind of like the
windows.
windows that make it look like a face. Yeah, it creeped me out.
I was like, oh, that's a different film. If it's Amity, that's a different
Thankfully
film.
I didn't
That's
say-
a possessed shark.
It's a very different film.
To be fair though, Amity looked like a pretty nice place, other than like the shark attacks. I could live in Amity.
Amity looks lovely. White sandy beaches. Jetties that
New
when
England's
they
really
fall
nice.
into the water start chasing after you.
Have those loyal
Yep.
jetties.
What more could you possibly want?
That's it. You've detailed everything.
Working for the tourism board.
I love the fact that towards the beginning, when they try and kind of reason that it's safe to go in the water, and they try and downplay how dangerous the sharks are, and their reasoning is like a dog owner would talk about, it's never bitten anyone before. You know,
Yeah,
until
then it's a pretty big deal.
It's not the greatest argument.
I can't help but think,
And
like,
you scale that up to a shark.
I can't help but think, did everybody in 1975 just not know what sharks were like? Like, if you think of sharks, they're kind of synonymous with, like, biting people.
Generally, yeah.
Being a bit sharp and pointy, a bit sharky. And apparently all these people are like, oh, there's a shark in the water. Oh, we'll just go for a little swim then. It'll be fine.
I mean, they didn't have the Discovery Channel back then. Who knows?
Didn't have Shark Week.
That's it. That's it.
Exactly.
Didn't have Gorepress talking about Jaws, the movie they were in. But they kind of, when they were discussing, like, you know, why they didn't want to cause a panic with the shark attack news, they kind of gave themselves the solution in their reasoning as to why not to mention it. They said, if we said it was a barracuda attack or something like that, people wouldn't care because, you know, it's just the word shark that has the, you know, the terrifying connotations. Why didn't they just say it was a barracuda attack? People would have been like, fair enough. Don't want to get in the water with a barracuda, I'll stay back. But no,
Yeah.
they could have done that. You're right,
They
they're
could
all
have done
dumb.
that and they could have got away with it really
Yeah.
easily. Just like bad decisions all across the board. Apart from Hooper wearing a suit jacket and jeans when he goes to dinner.
And eats Brady's dinner for him.
Eats Brady's dinner for him and then goes, but I bought wine. That's, have I done that? Have
Yeah.
I turned up at your house and just eaten your food and given you wine before? I'm sure I've done that.
Almost certainly. On multiple occasions.
Was I wearing a Canadian tuxedo at the time?
You may have been. I don't know.
Oh, I love a bit of double denim. That man can get changed quicker than any other character I've seen in any film. So he goes from wearing a suit jacket and jeans to cutting open a shark when he's wearing his double denim again. Then they go on a boat where he's still wearing his double denim, and then he goes, be right back, walks around a corner, comes back and he's in a wetsuit. Unless he was wearing
Maybe he had
that
the wetsuit on.
underneath.
Yeah.
He must have been boiling.
I like
Would have been really warm.
the narrative I've built in my head now is that he always wears a wetsuit, regardless of the outfit on top. Every scene that he's in that film, he has got a wetsuit on at some point.
He's like the shark oceanographer version of Superman.
Gets onto the telephone booth and just comes out in a wetsuit.
It's less
That's my
impressive.
favourite fan theory.
I stan it. Is that right? Did I say that right? I stan it. Is that how stanning works?
I think so. I think that's how children say it.
Tom, you look like a man of the world.
I've been around it once. No, I haven't. I think it's Stan. Yeah.
What's stanning?
I think, as far as I understand it, and this is a man who's been on TikTok twice in his entire life, I believe it's halfway between stalking and a stalker and a fan. So you are so much of a fan, you are a stalker, hence Stan. I think.
Oh, that sounds verging on illegal.
I think it came as well from that Eminem song about the stalker.
It's probably a lot of things, but...
I don't know if I'm comfortable with saying that I stan things anymore.
I love
Well,
how
you've ruined Jaws for us, so I've ruined that for you. That seems fair.
Oh. I thought it was a nice, I really like this thing.
I think it's like when you
be
excessively like something.
like it's canon, but it's Stan.
No,
Standard.
don't do it.
what?
That's how it worked in my head, but apparently no, it's something to do with stalking. I would probably stalk Matt Hooper, let's be honest. So that's fine.
Well, maybe you should. And then
No, I'm
if you
enjoying
stalk
this.
him, you can answer the question about the wetsuit. I want to know.
No, he's definitely a Superman in a wetsuit, for sure. For sure. My next note
It's
is
settled.
a cloud in the shape of a killer shark.
Oh, I have that written down somewhere. My notes are a
I
mess.
feel you need to elaborate on this because I didn't catch that.
Yeah, me either.
The newsreader, when he's giving a live broadcast from Amity Beach, he's like, but there is a cloud that has befallen the town of Amity, and it's a cloud in the shape of a killer shark. Just imagine loads of people going, that one looks like a bee! That's it. It's just a cloud.
That sounds like...
That's all it was. Yeah, it looks like a killer shark. No swimming for us today.
It sounds like a line Ken Brockman would say.
It really does. It really does. Is that a third Simpsons reference?
I think we're
At least.
three.
At least.
Yeah.
Chalk it up.
Ding, ding, ding.
Take a drink.
Oh no, I need a little tally chart.
One thing I noticed, and it's something that we kind of touched on when we spoke about Host the other day in the minisode, is that this is an example of one of the reasons I do tend to enjoy found footage, because the music knows exactly what's going on. The scene with the kids playing with the shark fin, or like the fake shark fin, no music. The next time, music. And that's because one doesn't have a shark, the other does.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the scene with the kids was completely silent. There was no music at all. And as soon as, I think it's the next one is when it's in that pond.
Those cheeky rascals.
Yeah, you hear the music
Are
kick
you
in.
suggesting that Jaws would have been better if it was found footage? Is that what you're saying?
I think what Phil is suggesting is that the shark has a speaker attached and its own theme song.
No.
Yep,
Of course.
definitely what I had in mind.
Have you guys seen the movie The Bay?
Yeah.
That's kind of like very inspired by Jaws in a found footage kind of way. It even has the whole sort of government trying to cover up the threat type deal, and I could definitely see the parallels. So it sounds like Phil just wanted to watch The Bay, really.
Maybe.
You watched the wrong film, Phil.
Yeah. Why didn't we cover the Bay? That's what I want to know.
Because we're not Upside Down Parasite, we're Upside Down Shark.
Well, then we would have covered
It's no
Parasite,
pleasing
surely.
some people.
Oh,
Shut up.
God.
You are sassy today, Phil.
You are. You've got ideas above your station, young man.
Because I'm normally his whipping boy, so he gets an attitude around me.
He's showing off in front of his friends.
The point
It's
I was
okay,
making.
Phil. I already think you're cool, Phil. God.
Oh,
Well, there's got to be one of us.
yeah,
My
you're
next
in the
note
minority.
is-
You like Scar, it's fine.
Do you not even think you're cool, Phil?
Oh, no.
Is it not a 50-50
No.
split?
I'm very much not cool. It's fine. I've come to terms with that.
But the coolest people don't think they're
none of us
cool,
are.
so that's fine.
There we go.
Yeah, we're gonna
with that.
put a pin in that one.
Let's go with that.
Absolutely.
I'm your hype man, Phil.
Maybe we all need hype men.
Is that
Yeah, I like that idea.
Just thinking aloud now.
Yeah, sorry. I just want someone to follow me around and tell me nice things
is this
about
real
me.
life or just in the show?
All the time. Just
like an air
nice
horn.
things about me. Yeah, but you're really great. My next note is I've seen a shark eat a rocking chair. Which one? I was like, sure you did, Quinn. Sure you did. Yeah, I've seen a shark do that, eat a rocking chair. Yeah, of course you have, mate. He's a liar. I don't think he's ever seen a shark.
Until he did see a shark.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did
Jesus,
the rocking
that's a
chair
shark.
come from? I mean, that was definitely a shark. Well, I say it was definitely a shark. It was definitely an animatronic foam shark. That close up, it's a bit difficult to suspend belief over the fact that it is a
Yeah.
shark.
I hadn't seen this film in a really long time, and towards the beginning, because you don't even see the shark until I think over an hour.
yeah,
in.
hour and 21.
Hour and 20 minutes, yeah.
Is it an hour and 20? Wow, okay. And then when you do see it kind of in passing, it's like, oh no, that still looks pretty good. And then it gets to the end, it's like, oh no, no, it doesn't.
Apparently the shark had two names during filming, one of which was Bruce and the other one was son of a bitchin' bastard ring.
Funnily enough,
I heard the great white turd as well.
Bruce is the reason why
Finding Nemo,
Finding
the
Nemo,
shark
the
is called
Bruce
Bruce.
Yeah, exactly that.
Fish are friends, not food, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the movie. I know what Finding Nemo is.
Now I want to see a version of Jaws where the theme music is sung a cappella by Dame Edna Everage. Da-da, da-da.
I'm up for that. I'm fully up for that. And then we have the classic iconic line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat,"
Which was ad-libbed.
which I forgot. He says like 4 times. All the way through that scene, he's like,
Yeah,
"But you're
yeah.
gonna need a bigger boat, right? Shall I call up for
Yeah.
a bigger boat? We're gonna need a bigger boat." It's like, shut up! You've driven the point home now. It's a
think-
very large shark.
Do you think when he ad-libbed that for the first time, Spielberg was like, no, that's a great line, and then he was just like, you know what, I'm going to fit it in as much as I can from now
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Just every
Yeah.
context.
Little teacher's
Did you like
turd.
that,
we'll
Mr.
keep that line,
Spielberg?
it's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, how about if I say it again? Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
Genius.
Is there, or is there not? I might be wrong here, but is there some kind of like unspoken love tryst that blooms between Quint and Hooper?
I was getting some seriously like
Because the night where they're
some weird
so
vibes.
first there's like the can and cup crushing bit, which is like, oh, I'm manly. Oh no, I'm manly too. And with my polystyrene cup. And then when they're drinking on the ship that night and they're like showing each other their legs and they're like sexy glances.
They're like
going
leg on leg
backwards
at
and
one
forwards
point.
between the two. Right? They're leg on leg. And Quint like just taps. Just gives his leg a little tap. And he's like, oh, such a lovely leg.
Oh, let's
And
drink to our legs.
yeah, like it's a bit like nicey army touchy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where men are like, oh, if I touch your arm, then that means that yes, you all know that I like you. And yes, but it's his leg, and then they're drinking, and they're like, let's drink to our sexy legs, and It's all very charged.
No.
And I feel like Brody would have felt very... Oh, and Brody, like, looks at his scar.
He looks down.
He looks down his pants.
I seem to remember that was a really weird moment.
Well, he's got a scar on his stomach.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Brody's checking out his dick. And then just decides not to tell anyone. He's like, oh, there it is. I'm happy with this, guys. You carry on with your sexy sideways glances. And then start singing Show Me the Way to Go Home, that well-known sea shanty.
So
I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Bob, Bob, Bob.
just to ruin the bromance that's blossoming between Quint and Hooper, apparently
Why would you do that?
I mean, I don't have to talk if you don't want me to.
I just said, why would you do that? Why would you ruin the romance? You're allowed to talk.
Well, now I feel bad for saying what I'm going to say. Apparently...
Just... You're allowed to talk, just leave the homoeroticism alone,
Yes.
Philip.
Fine, I'll leave.
No, apparently the Robert Shaw was difficult to get on with during filming.
Oh, that does not
I
surprise
can
me.
well believe that, actually.
Apparently he had a bit of a drinking problem and became like really nice when he's sober, but like after one drink just gets super belligerent. And
I feel like he is his character.
wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me.
Like he didn't actually act in the film. That was just him.
He didn't even know he was
With some wine.
on a film set. He just stumbled on there and the cameras were rolling.
Right? And they were like, yeah, he looks like a sailor. Film it.
He's like, I'll catch your shark. And then just went to the props cupboard, whipped out the animatronic, caught your
Oh, a
shark.
film about a shark. Brilliant. So he was an asshole, was he?
Yeah, and they had real trouble filming that drunk scene. You know, the kind of really good monologue. Funnily enough, yeah.
But surely it would have been
Well,
easy to film.
That was the idea. But no, apparently he just like it was just horrendous the shoot they did. And he felt so bad the next day. He was like, "Can I try that again, please?" And then the sober take was the one in which he delivers that monologue about the Indianapolis.
Oh, and the Hiroshima
such a good
bum.
speech.
Yes.
He I'm not laughing at Hiroshima.
I would hope not.
He doesn't say bomb. He says bum a lot. He just says bum a lot during that speech.
Because he's pissed.
And we dropped off the bum, the Hiroshima bum, and then there were sharks. What?
I can't say I picked up on that, I'm afraid.
He is Captain Buzz Killington in that scene, though.
Yeah, that's one of my notes, is that like it's a really good scene and then that just kind of the mood just dies.
They were all having a lovely time.
He should have got his
And
legs
then-
out again and then everything would have picked up.
And then Captain Birdseye decides he's not fun at parties.
I just can't get the idea out of my head that he didn't know he was in a film and that the bit where he's got drawn the shark on the board, that's him just negotiating his fees. He's just like, I'll be in it for 3,000 and I'll let you kill me off for 10,000.
For 10,000, I'll give you its head. Wait, what? What are we talking about?
And its tail. Wink.
Please, Robert, no. Did anybody notice that when they had a couple of shots of the like night sky on the outside of the ship, there were like red lines cutting across the sky,
No.
almost like meteorites?
Oh,
It happened
Okay, I
twice
can't
in
say that's
two
something that jumped
scenes, like really close to each other. That happened, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was like they had sped up they'd like shot the sky and then sped it up so that there were no clouds and it all just merged into like one blank cover. Because throughout the entire film there are no clouds in the sky at all. And if that meant that
Apart
there
from
was
the
like
one shaped like a killer
course.
shark,
yeah,
obviously.
apart from that one, but that's why it was so weird, because there was only one and it was
Right.
in the shape of a killer shark.
Yeah, that would stand out.
Yeah. But it made me wonder if there was like planes going overhead, and where it had been sped up, like it just made red lines across the sky.
Oh, maybe.
Because they were like shooting
Yeah.
across the scene, but I didn't know if there was any point to them or not, or if it was just something odd that I
Yeah, it
noticed.
doesn't seem
that-
relevant, does it?
No, and I but they looked a bit like, I don't know, flares or something, or I think maybe I was just being a bit too observant. Maybe that was just me.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, answer maybe, because I didn't notice it myself. But apparently there is a shot in the film in which they capture just a comet, a meteor. And it's not done in post, it just happened to be there. So that could be the shot you're talking about.
wait, what? In the film? I watched the film. That wasn't in it.
Are we not talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
We're talking about Jaws.
Yeah.
Just for the viewers at home, I'm so excited about the confused faces that are happening right now.
They don't find a meteor. When do they find a meteor?
No, I didn't say find it. They just have it in the shot. They didn't find it. I'm just saying in the background there was a meteor or something flying over the sky. A shooting star.
Oh, what that? Yeah, that would make sense.
And I'm saying that's probably what it was.
That's where the space shark came from. Obviously.
It all comes back around.
There we go.
I just
like in Cloverfield.
Jaws
I
10.
genuinely thought you meant like that I'd missed a whole like 10-minute chunk of the film when they find a meteorite. Every time I've watched this film, I've managed to miss the part where they found a meteorite.
No, there was just there was just mention of it in the trivia section of a shooting star having to be captured in a shot on
Okay,
camera.
no, I totally saw it. I totally saw it.
I was like, what? What is going on? I don't know what's going on anymore. Just so much confusion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Am I sorry? I think I'm sorry. I'm even
There's been
confused
a
about
lot of
that.
apologising this episode, and I think it's all very disingenuous. to
Phil,
be
you
honest.
say
The
sorry as
warmer
well,
the
just to be
weather
safe.
gets-
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was the most disingenuous apology.
I mean, I was told to apologise.
Sorry. I think the warmer the weather gets, the more stupid I get.
I'm melting right now. I've had to put my laptop
it
on
is-
like a notebook to try and keep it cool because I'm worried that it's going to
is-
melt and die.
It's just been unseasonably warm. I refuse to believe that we're still in summer.
I know.
Because we're not.
It's
we're not,
horrible.
are we?
I didn't.
It's gross, isn't it?
Not technically.
I long
Is it
for
the
autumn.
21st that it's properly autumn?
I don't actually know.
That rings a bell.
Ow.
It's normally the 21st, I think.
Yeah, like some kind of equinox or something.
I,
Anyway.
I feel like we should have had pumpkin spice latte so far because I'm a basic bitch and I love them that so
Yeah,
much.
oh, for sure.
But-
I'm all about getting myself a PSL at some point.
Yeah, it's not. I swear America has already
cannot
got
wait. I can't wait for like oversized jumpers and boots and
them. Hell yeah.
big bobble hats and pumpkin picking.
Chunky knit weather.
Oh, love it.
I cannot wait.
Which brings me right back round to the film because
Well done.
Nice.
Thank
That's
done.
one of
you.
us did.
Quint has some of the most primo knitwear that I have seen in any film. Like his sailor garb, like his cable sailor knit kind of jumper that he's got going on. Love it. I'm all about it. I would happily
Okay,
wear that.
so Quint's wardrobe or Hooper's wardrobe? You can
Hoopers.
only choose
Hoopers
one.
without a
Hoopers.
shadow of a doubt.
Okay,
Like, yeah.
with the wetsuit,
With the
Wetsuit
wetsuit
underneath.
underneath.
Canadian tuxedo on
Yeah.
top. Okay.
So wetsuit, jeans, shirt, like button down
Yeah.
shirt, and then pink
Denim jacket.
or blue sweatshirt, depending on what
Okay.
day it is, with a denim jacket over the top, and those weird little
And a toque.
octagonal glasses, and a toque, and a beard. I want the beard as well.
You might be SOL on that front, but the rest of it we can achieve, I'm sure.
I've got a little bit of a beard.
You've a ways to go, sweetheart.
Well, I can dream. A girl can dream about having a beard.
I just want to very, very, very quickly take it back 2 conversations, because apparently Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss fucking hated each other.
Oh,
which
no.
But, I mean, it lines up with him being difficult, but also it sort of adds an extra layer of weirdness to that scene on the boat. Like, did they hate each other because it was just thick sexual tension? What was going on there?
Well, that was what I was
because they were having such a good time.
That was what I was going to say. I decided to like temper my comment to say that Robert Shaw had a sort of drinking problem, but I was going to say that they just hated each other on set.
I don't need you to baby me.
I mean, I could have just said it.
They hate each other.
You're the one that made an issue out of it.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
You're sassy. I'm very sassy.
After hearing the phrase thick sexual tension, I'm trying to imagine what thin sexual tension is. But we don't have to go into that.
I don't know.
Like when somebody runs their hands along your shoulder, but really, really lightly.
Right.
That's thin sexual tension.
Okay.
The kind that makes you go...
You don't want none of that.
Nah, you want it to be thick and creamy.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Sexual tension. Obviously.
Wow. I noticed something near the end, going back to the film, because I'm not sure how far around this conversation we need to go.
You're underestimating how much mileage we can get out of that phrase, clearly.
Be that as it may. They kill the shark, spoiler alert, and at the end...
I was looking forward to that bit.
Just after they find the meteor.
Of course. Then the space sharks, there's a whole thing, and the shark dies at the end.
You all need to stop fucking with me.
But so Brucey Boy dies, and Hooper and Brady, you know, they meet in the water, and they're both really relieved, and they're really smiling to meet each other. The shark is dead. But I feel like they play it off far too calm, because I know they talk about how the shark has like its territorial things and whatever, but I cannot believe in all of the ocean around Amity Island, it's the only shark in the water. And they are surrounded.
I mean, they caught another one.
They are surrounded by chum and shark bits and blood, and then they have to
and bits of quint,
and then they have to paddle very slowly, holding on to effectively a bit of driftwood all the way back to Amity, which we cannot even see in the distance, in the horizon. It's probably miles away. They are probably still absolutely just gonna get eaten, and
that I think is why they end the film there.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I was quite surprised how
everything's fine. Bye.
And then they all died.
Like, it does just end, doesn't it? Like, they kill the shark, they start paddling, credits roll. So yeah,
Finn.
Finn.
They missed such a shot there.
Finn, and then question mark, and then Jaws 2 coming soon.
And then a little shark.
The word Finn just swims away.
That scene where Brody's on top of the boat, and then Hooper turns up, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're alive! I'm so happy you're alive!" And he's like, "Quint," and he's like, "Nah." And then they look at each other some more, and I was like, "Okay, now kiss, now kiss." There was the amount of tension in this film is insane.
I love that we are just rewriting this film as like Brokeback Mountain at sea.
Jaws fan fiction.
Oh God!
I didn't realise how much of the
My brain just said fin fiction, and it was the worst thing that's happened to me all day.
I didn't realise how much of this film is set on the boat. I thought the bit with on the boat was like the last 20 minutes. It's like an hour of them on the boat. So no wonder, like, 3 guys all just alone on a boat together. There's going to be a little bit of tension. It only takes a day or two.
Yeah. And they even say, like, what day is it? So
Yeah.
they've clearly been on that boat for a while.
They just got lost in each other's company. So days, just minutes, all just go out the window.
Speaking of that line, I thought it ended.
Lost in each other's eyes.
I thought it ended with like a big kind of Christmas Carol energy. Like, what day is it? Why, sir? It's Christmas Day. No.
Why, sir? It's Wednesday.
I was expecting that.
What, instead they went, Wednesday?
Like
nah,
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Wednesday, something like
I don't know.
It was a bit of a disappointment, I must say.
I thought they were going to go, it's July the 4th, Independence from the shark.
Well, didn't they mention Thanksgiving? Or am I making that up? No, maybe it was July the 4th.
4th
It
of
was-
July.
Thanksgiving. They have been at sea for a long fucking time.
As soon as
if
I
it's
said
Thanksgiving.
it, I'm like, no. I seem to remember some major American holiday being mentioned within, and 4th of July makes a lot more sense considering the time of year.
Phil, you've just
And it was
ruined.
set on the 4th of July.
You've ruined my brain, Phil, because now all I can think of is that kid who gets his leg bitten off, which just pops out of the sea and goes, "Why, sir? It's Christmas!" And he's Tiny Tim.
Just lobs a goose at them.
And the shark eats the goose and the boy.
Yeah, we've just made an entirely different film.
That's what we usually do, isn't
I
it,
mean,
really?
I don't want to
Yeah.
downplay how great Jaws is, but I think our version's better.
A Jaws must
To be
Jarrell.
perfectly honest.
Jaws must... Oh my god.
Oh no!
I'm so sorry.
I like that even Phil said, "Oh my god." Normally he is the pun master,
That wasn't a pun, that was an
Leader of the-
abomination.
leader of the Pundadome.
The Contra Zoom. Loves a Contra Zoom. I think we
What
mentioned
now?
it earlier.
You're a Contra Zoom. This whole courtroom's a Contra Zoom.
You shot your Contra Zoom. What's happening?
It's the famous shot, the iconic shot.
Of Brody on the beach.
Brody on
Oh,
the
the
beach.
Contra Zoom.
Yeah.
I just know it as a dolly zoom. Is that its actual
I think
name?
it's got a couple of different names. There's like a trombone shot as well.
I know it's Hitchcock Zoom.
But that's the thing. A lot
Yeah.
of people did credit it as kind of coming from Jaws, but then it's kind of a reverse of what happened with Vertigo about 20 years earlier.
So, okay, which scene? Like, I think I know which scene this is. Is this the one where he's sitting in the chair on the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of like he has that like dawning realization, and it
see,
looks like
I've always called that
on.
parallaxing.
So I think
that makes sense too.
I think parallaxing is a side to side movement. It's things moving at different rates depending on how far they are apart.
Yeah. So is that different to a zoom?
Yeah, so with the this is where my camera knowledge is coming up short. But obviously a zoom in a camera
Zooms.
Pardon?
Zooms. Zooms.
Zoom zooms.
If I say something, just assume that I'm being a dickhead at this point.
You should learn that I will always stop myself and then lose my train of thought. So the zoom of a camera looks different if it's zoomed in than when it does zoomed out. So
Yeah.
by changing the zoom as you're changing where the camera is in relation to the subject, whatever it may be,
Right.
it kind of gives a really odd effect. Obviously, you've seen it in action.
But it looks like one's going out and one's coming in.
Because
kind of
what's
thing.
happening is either the shot's kind of compressing itself or expanding depending on which direction it is. Because it's the way the background and the foreground are situated in relation to each other. As far as I'm aware, parallax is more things that are further towards the camera.
Sideways.
Yeah, things that are further towards the camera will move
Moving
quicker
faster.
left and right than things
Right,
that are
I
further
get you.
away.
I get you.
As far as I'm aware.
So it's like the sideways version of the... It's like the 2D version of the 3D thing.
Yes, the 2D version of the 3D. Yeah.
Thanks. Yes, good. I'm glad we understand each other.
Do we?
Thank you for explaining. I mean, I understand you. Thank you very much for explaining what that was, because it's been something that we talked about before, and I've kind of been trying to work out how it works in my head. So, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm
being genuine.
No,
Genuinely,
I'm
thank you.
I'm just worried that I've explained it wrongly now.
Well, no, it makes sense to me.
So, does anyone have any comments they'd like to make before we think about wrapping this episode up?
Did you know that this was meant to be a Christmas film?
Is it meant to be a Christmas film?
This was meant to be a Christmas film.
Oh, really?
It was meant to be released at Christmas in 1974, and they had such bad delays because of the animatronics being shit and not being able to get the right filming conditions that they had to delay it until June 1975.
See, now the end line just makes total sense.
What day is it, sir? That's Tuesday.
They had to reshoot it and just put in any arbitrary day just to end the film.
It's Christmas. Yeah, it was meant to be a Christmas film. They fully intended to release it at Christmas the year before.
Wow, I did not know that.
This is my fact for the day.
Apparently the clapperboard they used for the film had teeth, which I thought was a nice touch. That's pretty cool. That's what I would
love that.
That's very extra.
I kind of want that to become the industry standard.
Where they're all themed.
Where they're all themed, or they all just have little teeth.
That's the default.
So if Fugglers ever got made into a film, it would have actual teeth on the clapperboard.
Ew, just molars.
Or if they made the movie Teeth again, then they could use teeth for that.
Yeah, they would make the clapper look like a giant vagina with teeth inside.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I made that worse than you intended, didn't I?
That's exactly the way I thought it would go. So it's fine. It's fine.
That's sort of your function on the podcast now.
Well, it's just make things worse than.
Yeah.
That's what I do on my podcast. So it's fine. It's fine. I suppose the only. Sorry.
What do you do? I make things gross, apparently.
Gross or made it better? Simpsons reference number 4.
Nice.
Yay!
The only other thing I've got on my notes is just to say that sharks, as much as this film tries to, give them a bad rap, are pretty awesome. And they should not be feared. They should be loved and cared for. And I think it actually ended up doing a lot for shark conservation, because people actually, learn about sharks. But for the longest time, people were terrified of sharks. But sharks are cool. You leave a shark alone, it'll leave you alone, and it won't go and chase down your boat and eat your salty captain called Quint.
Well, this is it. It demonized sharks for a lot of people for a long time. I know people who still have a sort of completely, I'm going to say irrational, but slightly irrational fear of sharks, just because of watching this films like this, stuff like Deep Blue Sea, whatever, that make out all sharks to be murderous little bitey bastards. And they're not. They're lovely, and some of them are really playful, and they look out for each other, and they just want to be understood.
They are truly the Frankenstein's monster of the sea.
That's it.
Apparently the author, because Jaws was originally a book before it was a film, the author, as far as I'm aware, decided to research or look into great white sharks after the fact of releasing the book, and then found out that his interpretation was completely wrong. They are very cautious creatures.
They're little soft boys, really. They're little soft boys, really.
Yeah, basically.
Absolute soft boys. Total e-boys. So he just made up what sharks were like.
I think so.
You could do that with anything.
Yes, that's how fiction works. Sorry, was I too sassy for you?
Yes. Phil.
Okay.
Phil Sassoner. No, that was awful as well. I'm gonna go soon, I promise.
It'd be more like Phil Tabasas.
That's better. That's much better.
So,
Phil Tabasas.
Or just sass.
Sass.
Yeah. Sass.
Yeah.
so shall we wrap up with some final thoughts? What everyone thinks?
Yeah. Why don't you start, Phil?
Okay. So obviously this was a first watch for me, and I loved it. Really loved it. It was what I expected, I think.
What more can you expect from a shark attack film?
Well, exactly.
Than
And to be
a
fair,
shark that attacks.
it's one of those films in which it's become kind of parodied so much, and it's so kind of known within the cultural zeitgeist that, you know, you're hard pressed not to know much about it. So yeah, like, it was a fantastic movie. They did a really good job of knowing their limitations mostly. Particularly with the animatronics. Obviously, they worked so hard on the animatronics and then found out that it was not quite as functional in salt water than it was freshwater where they tested it on.
I feel like they really should have figured that out.
I know.
Like, metal plus salt water is not going to equal a good time.
But
anyway.
they did a good job of kind of shooting around that and keeping Jaws itself mostly hidden away. Obviously, it's Spielberg and John Williams, so always going to be a fantastic movie. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10, I reckon.
How do you think it's aged? I know that obviously you've rated it quite highly, but considering it's filmed in the 70s, do you think it's not necessarily relevant in today's society, but how do you think it's aged as an old film that you are watching now?
No, I think it's apart from ever so slightly the suspect special effects, the animatronic shark. But like I said, they do really well at shooting around that. You know, they've got actual footage of a proper shark. They did some cool stuff with the cage. They shot that in such a way that made the shark seem a lot bigger than an actual sort of shark would be. I guess the effects with actual human, well, not actual human limbs, but very realistic human limbs and stuff falling to the ocean floor. It was really well done. That was legitimately could have been somebody's leg. No, it was really well done.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, I think aside from kind of a couple of stylistic choices like the use of split diopters, you know, they kind of date it a little, but aside from that, I think
that they're kind of back in vogue now, though.
Yeah, but it's something that I associate with that era more so than now. So yeah, no, I think it is aged really well. It was a really sort of great movie, really tense, had a lot of heart, I think, as well, which was a nice surprise.
Like Captain Planet.
Yes, like Captain Planet. What about you guys? What did you think?
Sarah?
I think it's pretty damn near close to being a perfect movie.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. And I know you talked about the fact that it's aged a little. I think in a lot of respects it's kind of timeless. I disagree slightly. I can't get over the fact that this was Spielberg's I think 4th or 5th full-length movie. You'd have just stopped. How does it? If you
You'd
come
been
out,
right, I've peaked.
You come out the gate with that. You know, I'm done. Retire.
You say that though,
No.
Ari Aster. Come on,
And you.
if you'd made Midsommar or Hereditary, would you not have been do you know what? Mic
Be in
drop.
therapy. I know that much.
Only watched it and I need
I'd be
therapy.
seeking serious professional help. No, I just think it's great. I think the characterizations are really great, apart from being boring as heck. I love all the really traditional movie-making tropes, the part when they're on the boat and there's just this moment where Quint kind of ditches his machete and it's Chekhov's machete. You know, really familiar movie-making tropes. And it's just great. Good all-rounder. And I know it sort of gets pigeonholed as a horror movie, but like you say, I think it's got a far wider appeal.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a creaturey Silence of the Lambs almost. Like they've become known as horror movies, but in terms of wider appeal, there's a lot more going for it. And Rosie does not agree in the slightest. Or
I do. It's just you said a creaturey Silence of the Lambs, and all I could see was a shark in a jail cell being like, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. My brain does some weird things.
Goes to some strange places.
It does, but that's what makes me the person that I am.
No, I don't know, man. I think I would go for like a solid 9.5 out of 10. I think there are a few films that have had this much cultural impact.
Yeah.
It is kind of the shark movie, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like there are other shark movies, but in terms of, of course,
quite a few.
But it's the one that comes to mind when you mention a shark movie because it's so
Shark Tale
and Shark Tale and Finding Nemo apparently.
I mean, it has a shark in it.
It's true.
3 sharks in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does. It has
at least
3
one
sharks.
more than Jaws.
Sharky and George.
Sharky and George, a TV show.
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, yep.
Sharky and George should have been a feature length.
You won't find me disagreeing. Now I've got the theme tune stuck in my head.
Oh no, I'm hard agreeing with Sarah. I think this is like so close to being a perfect film. I think they managed to have it set in such a time, but missing out all those kind of like sort of cultural zeitgeists of the times that made it age badly going forwards. So all of the signs were like hand painted, and obviously it's not so much of a practice now, but it makes them still valid as like a created sign would be today, because it would look exactly the same if it was hand painted. Whereas if it was something that was like mass produced, then obviously it would have aged really weirdly and it would have looked really dated. So I feel like that was maybe a bit of a conscious decision made on their part, because I hope that they made this film with the view of it being watched again and again over the years. I think they maybe knew like how influential it was going to be, and I like to think that Spielberg was like, yeah, people are going to rewatch my films, I'm great, whatever, I can do it. But I think that they did really well to keep those kind of anachronisms to a minimum. Clothing aside, and even like fashion and stuff now, that's all coming back around again, is becoming like relevant again. So it's not even so jarring from that perspective. I think the only thing which is a bit like, oh, okay, that's of its time, is the hairstyles, I guess, or like the cars maybe, but like Matt Hooper, perfect example. I genuinely know people in real life who dress and look like Matt Hooper today.
I think
I'm very happy about that.
In my notes, I've got Matt Hooper's outfit. I had that written down in my notes that I've got the denim jacket, and I wear double denim all the bloody time.
Like so relevant. And I wonder, had we done this show, say like 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, would we have had the same thought about it being so timeless as we do now? And I think it's just because those kind of zeitgeists have come around and have become more relevant again. Having said that, I think it is...
Everything's cyclical.
Yeah. But having said that, I think it is just such a genuinely, thoroughly enjoyable film. It's got so much... I'm reticent to use the word meat around it, but it's just like... It's such a meaty film. Like there's so much to like capture your interest, even though realistically the first hour and 20 minutes of it is really quite a slow burn, but then the last 50 minutes of it shoots by, like so fast paced.
it's almost more impressive because the story is actually like wafer thin. There's not much to it at all. So the fact that they've made such an impressive film of such a bare bones story is kind of even more impressive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't really sort of delve too much into, personal character development. Obviously, it happens like a little bit within the film, and they don't really delve too much into the relationships between the characters. But somehow it just turns out to be this really well-rounded, really enjoyable, really just thoroughly well-made film for all of its foibles, for all of its issues that it had. Like, it surpasses those to become like a sum greater than the total of its parts.
Yeah, agreed.
And I love that. I think that's excellent.
Tom?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I think it's basically a cultural touchstone. It has set the the precedent for whatever would come after it, and I don't think many things have really come close to it in terms of replicating its formula and the heart. And I mean, I'm a huge sucker for Spielberg films anyway. I mean, Jurassic Park is my favourite film.
I was about to say, isn't everyone?
Exactly. And he just has such a magic, and he can do any genre, and it still has so much heart. And it doesn't, not a lot has to actually happen. It can be very, very thin, as we said, and it's still just absolutely charming from start to finish. I just wish we at some point in the future can cover the sequels, because I feel like they just shitting on them a bit might be a bit of fun as well. So, but yes, 9.5
I can't
out of
speak
10.
for all of us. I would be well up for that.
Bit of Jaws 3. Bring it on.
Yeah. Oh no, you can't watch 3D films.
I mean, no, I can watch the 3D film. There's nothing stopping me from watching it.
You're not allowed.
I have it written into my contract.
Like I was saying, it sounded a bit like I was saying that you couldn't turn left or something. Like, oh no, you can't do
Dogs
that.
can't look
you can't
up.
do that incredibly normal thing that you can absolutely do. Dogs can't look up. All right.
Apparently, that just to take a wild tangent, they deliberately made up that dogs can't look up joke as they designed it in such a way to make it sound like a real kind of theory.
Yeah, made up. Made it up, did they? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a dog looking up?
Yes.
You're a liar. Dogs can't look up. They can move their head up, but they can't look up.
Have you ever asked a dog? No. How would you know?
They don't speak English, Sarah. Don't be ridiculous.
Well, apparently Michael Caine's in Jaws the Revenge. I forgot about that.
Oh, maybe we should.
Can Michael Caine look up?
Have you asked him?
Have you asked him?
No, he's a Tory.
Sorry, I don't speak Tory.
Tories.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, he's not.
He sure is. That's why he's good friends with Chris Nolan, because they're both raging right-wing Tories.
Oh, well, bugger that.
Yeah.
I feel that's a good time as any to wrap up this episode. Thank you very much, Tom, for joining us. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much, Tom.
It's been the pleasure has been all mine, and please do pop on our podcast whenever you have a spare hour, because it's been a grand old time.
We'd love to.
Definitely. So until next time, stay spooky.